be able to deal with issues, would be able to bring people downtown into the North Loop and into the West Broadway region. And it would be economically feasible, because all the trolleys we have, by the way, right now, are actually in Mexico City. We sold them in Mexico City. They're still being used today.
Tom.
I've heard Ian's story, but I heard that our trolleys are actually in Brazil. Anyway, that's fine. Wherever they are, we're not here, okay? I heard it like 20 years ago. But if we just dig deep enough, we'll find them, because they're all underneath the street. But the problem is that we have to pay to have them redone. And I think that we need to have a trolley system. I think it's the best way to get transportation from us to connect to downtown. I'd love to see it on Broadway straight down to Washington. I've been wanting to connect that whole way ever since I, frankly got in the district 10 years, 12 years ago. The second thing is that there was some talk about the present light rail construction. I understand a lot of people are hurting, but that's the front cost. On the other side is over. I'm sure that they'll more than pay for all the pain and distress that we've been going through. But I know the people that do this along between St. Paul and Minneapolis are hurting right now. And I've been watching and talking to them along there. And then, I do like to see one stop when it goes through Penn and Broadway. But if residents don't want it, I always go to the residents first to see what their opinion is, and that's what I support.
Thank you, Ken. Ray.
90 seconds is all I have. Thank you, Ian. For those of you who are thinking romantically about trolleys, they're no longer around. They're going to be streetcars, and they're very different modern technology that will help move people through the city, similar to buses, but a much, much smoother ride. Transportation needs access. For those people that are transit dependent, if they don't have a system that gets them access, they get left behind. So we need to make sure that the system we have gives service to those who need it most. Over the past 2 decades, the number of bus lines and the frequency of bus service on the north side has dwindled to a point that now the Metropolitan Transit Commission says, well, you don't have many riders. On the main arterials, there are buses that are full, but some of the other ones that give people access to that without walking a half a mile to the bus system, there's not the ridership. So they continue to look at how to continue to cut those. I know I've got to get to LRT. As a co-facilitator, I've taken a neutral position on this because it's been about facilitating a community conversation about what is important to the residents of the north side of Minneapolis. I will tell you, with either of the alignments, there are positives and negatives, and whatever gets selected, we need to continue to be involved so that we can make sure that we minimize those negative impacts and maximize those positive impacts.
Thank you, Ray. Willie?
Thank you. First of all, we have to have meaningful access to transit. Transit, folks, starts and stops on the north side of Minneapolis. Why is it we're not talking about Bottom Hope right now? We don't have those discussions with Bryn Mawr, North Loop, downtown. We need those discussions, some meaningful discussions, how that transit's going to work. Bottom Hope should be the first on the rail transit. I oppose Southwest Corridor, which is getting $125 million to build that. Why is it that we are always out on the loop? It starts and it stops on North Minneapolis. We must have those discussions. And my choice is the authority rails right behind Bassett Creek, down behind Theodore Worth, coming down. In fact, years ago, Hennepin County bought that property just for that. Why are we not having that discussion? We have to have a discussion about that transit.
Thank you, Willie. Go.
I've been to a number of meetings at the Harrison Community Center talking about the transportation issue about our community, including with the transportation, how it's going to be in, or they're going to get rid of the city of Minneapolis, this totally car lot area, which would then force people to go out of the city to pick up their cars if they're towed. Right now, the city of Minneapolis charges about $125 a tow. If any of you have been in some of the residential housing units, they've jacked up the price to $222 and higher until a recent Star Tribune article popped them on the issue of being out of conformance with the law. Many of these hot transportation issues are trade-offs between two evils for the community. I think, number one, the north side, as well as the rest of the population in Minnesota, is getting older. Some of our transportation is going to be door-to-door for some people who are disabled. And they'll pick them up door-to-door and they'll get to where they need to go. But I don't think we need to tear up Penn Avenue, destroy some of those beautiful homes that are there in order to facilitate this mass transit. And I don't think that it's good for the community nor the housing stock of our community.
Thank you, Michael. We'll start with Nancy on this round.